So, on my way hunting, and it's the opening day of archery season in Pennsylvania here for deer. But I'm going squirrel hunting because, well, I love hunting squirrels. That was one of the first things, I ever went hunting for. Here in Pennsylvania, it hasn't been, when I was young, there wasn't mentored hunting yet. It wasn't legal, but a lot of people did it, and I didn't even really know that it was illegal, or I was vaguely aware. My grandfather used to, he had bought one of the Marlin Youth rifles, little single shot 22, and the first year, or at least at first, he would carry it unloaded, and if we saw a squirrel, then he would hand the unloaded rifle and a shell to me, and I would load it and try and shoot at the squirrel. And if I missed, which, I mean, there's squirrels, that happens as often as not, especially when you're that age, 7 or 8. If I kind of had a good reason that I missed, or if I knew why I missed, then I could have another shell. And then a little bit into that, he would let me carry the rifle, but he would still carry the shells. And he would kind of say, you know, if we saw somebody else in the woods, that I should hand the rifle back to him. And so I guess I was vaguely aware that I wasn't supposed to be carrying the gun, but I guess I didn't really know that I wasn't supposed to be hunting at all. It's kind of besides the point, I guess, but what I had really been thinking about was, when I was young, I had shot a couple, there's black squirrels in the area, and I had shot 2 of them over the couple of years that I hunted a lot with Bombi. And I think the first one, but maybe not until the second, I had decided that I wanted to get it mounted, because I knew they were uncommon in this area, but we had a spot where there was a few of them that we went hunting. And I remember standing, there was a rotary phone that hung on the wall right outside of our kitchen, and looking up taxidermists in the phone book and dialing on the rotary phone and asking them how much it was to get a squirrel mounted, and writing on my little notepad. I had written out what my question was and a little spot for the answers, and I had called 3 or 4 places at least, and I don't remember what the higher prices were, but the low prices were $95 and $75. And I had put the squirrel in the freezer, wrapped up, kind of, you know, hoping that I would be able to get one done. And I, you know, the only money I had was a weekly allowance, and, you know, I wasn't even doing odd jobs yet. I wasn't mowing lawns or anything yet. And so that $75 seemed sort of within reach, but it may have been $1 million at that point. You know, just for an 8-year-old, was just completely out there. But the other thing that I kind of remember about those rotary phones was I really think that's, I was nervous with them anyways, because I never felt like I could find the number fast enough and it would end up glitching. And my grandfather's phone number had a 0 in it towards the end. And I was always so nervous about it because of, I tried to be ready to grab the next number as soon as the 0 was done, because one time I took so long to find the next number after the 0 that the operator picked up because I had dialed 0. And it just, I don't know, it freaked me out, I guess. But I know our part of the country was a little bit behind the times. I know it really wasn't that long ago. A lot of people my age remember all those things, but I know even my little sister's much younger than me, and she doesn't remember rotary phones or actually getting an operator or an operator picking up by themselves. You had whatever. But just kind of that expense. But the other thing was, with squirrel hunting, I didn't realize it until a lot later. Everything about squirrel hunting for me at that age was about hunting in general, but also deer hunting. We squirrel hunted more or less the way that my grandfather deer hunts. Now, we didn't walk as far, and when we would find a wolf tree, which was what a lot of the places we hunted at that time, it was before the coyotes moved into the area. So there was way more rabbits, and just the things are starting to come back into balance now, but you could find trees or small sections of trees that if you could shoot and were patient, you could get your daily limit of squirrels out of one tree and the surrounding trees around that wolf tree. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, so hunting squirrels is training for other outdoor skills and deer hunting. So we kind of still hunted for squirrels, or we at least still hunted to where we were going to hunt for squirrels. And the other thing about squirrels is it's always taken me forever to clean squirrels, because the way that Bumpy taught me to clean squirrels was the way that you clean a fur bear. You would skin them like a fur bear to begin with. So, he kind of used that as training for fur bear cleaning and skinning. The first time very recently that I split a squirrel hide from the middle, even though it's been a long time since I saved a squirrel skin, it still felt a little bit weird. But it's just something to keep in mind, when you do have your kids out. Any time in the woods, any time hunting is useful and can be valuable, and you can teach other lessons in it. I mean, squirrel hunting can be pretty easygoing. I always tell my kids there's no reason to be loud in the woods, but you can kind of carry on a conversation while you're squirrel hunting. If you're sitting with somebody, and it's not unreasonable to sit right with somebody, or walk right with somebody if you're still hunting and things like that. But it's good training exercise, crawl, walk, run sort of thing from those days. But there's just something about it, and I think it's just from that time growing up, and that was really what I did for hunting with my grandfather early on. I had hunted squirrels with him for several years before I was allowed to deer hunt, and that was the other thing. I knew, after I started hunting, for a couple of years, took the hunter safety course so that I could get my hunting license. And I just kind of thought it was like with fishing, you could fish until you were 16 and then you had to get a license. And I was sort of, I was under the impression that we could hunt for squirrels before we could hunt for deer. But really at that time like I said, it was illegal to hunt anything. And then when I was 11, I did go deer hunting for the first time. Again, technically before it was legal, but I just went with Bompy, and I did end up shooting the deer. He handed me his little I always remembered it as a 243 falling block, and I had asked him at some point within the last couple years if he still had it, and he kind of said that wasn't, that he hadn't ever had one of those. So I'm not sure. That I was always pretty clear in my head that's what it was, but I don't know what it was. But I guess that's kind of a story for another time. I just kind of wanted to get some ideas out, and I don't know if I'll turn this into a video. I always kind of hated the riding in the car format, but I'll probably just take the ideas and transpose them into a written article. But if it does turn into a video, get out there and hunt. Have a nice day. And if you're going to be in our great outdoors and on our public lands, don't be a jerk. Don't make a mess. Clean up after yourself. Behave. Things have just been... People have been really obnoxious all over the country. People that apparently had never had, well, everybody's have never taken the opportunity to get into the outdoors, have done so, and especially out west have just made a royal mess of things. So be good.